Alright guys, time for another update quick. I was going to use the 5.3 over here. I have two 5.3s actually. But I ended up getting a good deal on a complete 4.8 that was running, so there's no guesswork really. So once it's running and everything else, I can hit the ground running. So, no pun intended. Friday we raced the Firebird, Saturday we fixed the problem with the Firebird, Sunday we re-raced the Firebird with better results. So then Sunday night I tried to drop the 4L80E in, which is this pig right here. If you've never seen a stock 4L80E, it's gigantic. It doesn't clear. What happens is the top of the transmission hits the back here before the oil pan can clear the K-member. You can't get it in one shot unless you have a lot of shit modified or you hammer the shit out of some things, which it would take longer to do that than it just is to disconnect the trans and throw the bitch in normally. So I threw it in. Sunday night I made motor mounts and I cut my front sway bar mounts out and everything. I have to get the chop saw from my buddy, that's his, and chop these guys once I get the V-bands and everything. That's a LS1 intake and 80-pound EV1 injectors. And I had some questions on this actually. People were like, how the hell do you fit a truck water pump and a LS1 throttle body and intake? Because they get very close to each other. And my other Fairmont and some other builds, we've done this, but I guess I'm not very clear. The LS1 comes out here, the truck one comes out up top. This does hit. It absolutely hits if you don't fuck with anything. What you do is you cut off the cruise control bracket so it doesn't hit, and then you take a ball peen hammer and you just graze the inside of this guy till it moves clearly, and there's no problem there. You can even, if this gets too close to your water outlet, which it usually doesn't, it's no problem for me, you can pinch this shut. You can pinch this a little bit and then it clears, and I made a nice, look at all my welds in there. Oh yeah, I made this throttle bracket. It's a beast. The intake isn't bolted down, that's why it's a little loose. The stock coolant lines fit as they did before. The stock coolant line goes like somewhere crazy over top of the motor, so you actually have to cut it down. The battery box is still good, I just got to make a hole down. This is an extra rad my friend had that fits in here pretty nice. It's not as wide as the other one I used, but it looks like it will work no matter what. And there's nothing holding this engine, just the mounts. Pretty incredible. You can't even, there's no trans and nothing, there's no jack underneath it holding the oil pan. And that fucking thing doesn't move, you can shake the whole car. It's incredible. It's just 2 bolts. There's 4 bolts, there's like 2 top and 2 bottom. And we just put one across diagonally, a piece of plate steel. And then put a piece of box tubing in the center, and then weld it to the K. You can kind of see that down in there. Well, let me actually get you guys a flashlight. I'm sure there will be questions. So we'll make sure for the test. Here's my ugly ass motor mounts. This is how I always do it. These solid mounts, they work like a dream. They put cars into the 9s. I actually put 2 posts on this one because I had the room, and it's much sturdier. We never had a problem before, but this isn't even like the craziest, thickest steel here, and that's just a 1/2-inch bolt from the parts store, so I'm sure a lot of you guys will love this, showing how disgusting that thing is. But it's a dream. There's nothing you can do to even knock the fucking thing loose. So that was Sunday night. So today when I got home from work, I had the 7.5 rear. Oh, it's over there. But I ended up buying a Mustang rear. This is a 5-lug, 31 spline, Moser axles, everything in this rear, so I ended up picking it up for cheap, so I put that in. And then I always buy Summit tubular upper and lower control arms with polyurethane bushings because they're a beast. So I have some 5-lug wheels, but I love 10 holes, so I might actually get 4-lug axles for this car, or re-drill or do whatever, I don't know. I can sell these 5-lug axles for almost what I pay to get the 4-lug axles, so think about just selling them and not dicking with anything. But that's nice. This has 31s and everything already. The only problem I ran into was one brake line would not come out at all, and it was dicked, so I had to cut it, so I just had to replace the one brake line. other than that, the built 8.8 is already in the car. The gas tank is out of the car. My friend is going to sump the stock tank for fun. He just wants to do it for fun, so I'm going to let him do it. And that's about where I am right now. A complete 99 4.8 liter. And we'll see how it does the stock cam and everything. And I got an on-3 76 turbo, which is like half the size of the Chinese 68 millimeter that I normally use. So we'll see how this guy does. This is a 96 AR, the most normal trim, 76 millimeter on-3 performance turbo. On-3 performance. I always wanted to try one of these out, so we'll see how it does. It's nice. This turbo is so much smaller than the other one. I don't know what to do with myself. And then 3-inch exhaust and other shit, so we'll see what kind of power it can make. On this car, I'm going to weld 2.5-inch V-bands directly to about here where I cut it like I always do. And then I'm going to go a reducer on the other side of the V-band to 2-inch, and then I'm going to run a 2-inch hot side, merge the two 2-inchers into a 2.5, and then put the 2.5 into the turbo. And it'll be an interesting test to see how well that spools, because people always say a little bit smaller hot side on a car without a 1500 horsepower end goal works better. So we'll see how that goes. And the turbo has a 2.5-inch outlet. I'm going to do all 2.5-inch intercooler piping, a 3-inch intercooler. So it'll be cool to see how that does too. I'm going to try a stock torque converter, I think, for now. So it'll be neat to see how it responds and what kind of power it makes. And that's pretty much it for now.